place?
You weren't supposed to relieve me.
I know, but I felt like taking a shift.
You like him, don't you? You like watching him.
Don't be ridiculous.
We're gonna kill him. You understand that?
Morpheus believes he is the one.
Do you?
It doesn't matter what I believe.
You don't, do you?
Did you hear that?
Hear what?
Are you sure this line is clean?
Yeah, of course I'm sure.
I better go.
Matrix theory, like the mind game, but based on the possibility of being in a matrix simulation. As I said, it's theory and philosophy. I'm not saying that it's true or it's actually going on, but you know, it's a possible 50% chance for my research. But basically, when Morpheus asks, have you ever had a dream that you thought was real? What if you couldn't wake from that dream? How would you know the difference between the dream world and the real world? Now, if you've had a dream that felt so real that when you're in that dream you were convinced that it was real, like you're actually in real life. Basically, if you're in the Matrix, that dream is a control dream where you can't wake up. And you're basically living everyday life, working, sleeping, etc., etc. Living a daily life in a dream without realization. Like I said, with a random dream which I've had myself, is in the dream. Suddenly you're walking along somewhere and then suddenly it switches to that you're sitting down or you're seeing something happen, if you know what I mean, like a general dream. Well, the Matrix would be a coma type state of dream where you'd be asleep, projected, everybody projected through those pods. In a coma type state, basically projecting their mental selves in this simulated dream world, and are therefore
Have you ever had a dream, Neo, that you were so sure was real? What if you were unable to wake from that dream? How would you know the difference between the dream world and the real world?
Have you ever had a dream that you thought was so real? What if you couldn't wake up from that dream? How would you know the difference between the dream world and the real world? So you know it's tied to your neurons in your brain that tell you what you taste, touch, sense and smell. No difference to real life. When you drink something with a flavour to it, like coffee, it's your neurons in your brain telling your tongue to your neurons in your brain that you're tasting coffee. When you feel the texture of a brick or a smoothness of plastics, it's all to do with your neurons, what you taste, touch, sense and smell. It's all neuroscience. Now,
right now, we're inside a computer program?
Is it really so hard to believe? Your clothes are different, the plugs in your arms and head are gone. Your hair has changed. Your appearance now is what we call residual self-image. It is the mental projection of your digital self.
This isn't real.
What is real? How do you define real? If you're talking about what you can feel, what you can smell, what you can taste and see, then real is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain.
The pods in the Matrix film are basically you were plugged into a pod in a coma type state, and there's a plug in the back of the heads of the people as you see in the film. And that's connected to their neurons, and it's keeping them in a controlled dream state. So basically, when they're walking around in that dream, no difference to real life. When you taste, touch, sense and smell, you're also doing the same in that dream, but you don't realise that you're actually in a coma type simulated dream. where you can't wake up. Like I said, there's, on the theory of the Matrix, the film itself, Morpheus says it's actually close to the year 3000, but is not sure the exact year. There was a war between man and machine, but basically the main point I pointed out is why is Neo Keanu Reeves living in the 20th century in that dream, if in the real outside world where you're in those pods, it's close to the year 3000, and theoretically tied to what I'm about to say is it's to throw him off and anybody else in that dream to believe that the Matrix isn't real, because Keanu Reeves Neo would see the technology around in the 20th century, and he's not going to believe that he's in a graphical based simulation where everything's so damn realistic that, you know, it's out of this world, because the technology that's around the 20th and early 21st century is nowhere near anything like the Matrix shows, which is basically a graphical neural based simulation. And there's a reason why the machine world on that film, in this theory of philosophy, basically put Keanu Reeves Neo in the 20th century, you know, to throw him off so he doesn't believe what the Matrix is until he takes the pill and is unplugged to be shown the proof of the Matrix simulation. Like I said, it's like the analogy of going in a time machine to the Roman era, you know, when Julius Caesar was around, or the medieval era, and showing those people an iPhone. They're going to find shock and disbelief that it exists, because technology, let alone electricity, didn't exist in that era. And they'd have to be shown the iPhone as proof if you put it out of your pocket and showed them it to prove that it exists. And they still wouldn't believe it. It's no difference to us being told that we're in a Matrix simulation based on technology that we don't even have around at the moment, where, you know, where we're supposed to believe we're plugged into a dream and everything we're touching is neuron-based graphics based to the most realistic side of you know, real life. It's tied to the evolution of technology theory, like I said. Basically, you know, we're seeing when it comes to computer games, people like simulation, driving simulators, battle games like Call of Duty. They want everything to be as realistic as possible. Now, theoretically, if you put the spin and the Matrix theory aside, in years to come, they're going to eventually evolutionize technology where it's no longer on a computer games console. And obviously, they're going to give gamers, computer gamers, the most realistic experience of simulation. And it's going to eventually come down to people wanting the most realistic simulated side to technology they'll want, and eventually they will end up being able to create, whether it's 100 years or more, something which is a neuron-based dream simulation where people can actually believe they're in an actual battlefield, you know, like Call of Duty, or actually driving a real car. It will come eventually, because, like I said, the demand of computer gamers is they want simulation, they want realisticness on the Xbox One, and as seen, computer game developers are doing that. So theoretically, with the Matrix, say we're in a Matrix simulation aside, that technology will exist eventually. I'm trying to keep this as brief as possible. But like I said, nature, say, if we refer back to, say, theoretically, we're possibly in a Matrix simulation. Like I said before, nature, like pigeons, birds, cats, dogs, everything would be what Morpheus explained as sentient programs. They'd be just software.
Were you listening to me, Neo? Or were you looking at the woman in the red dress?
I was...
Look again. Who is it?
This isn't the Matrix.
No. It's another training program designed to teach you one thing. If you are not one of us, you are one of them.
What are they?
Sentient programs.
Simulated personality, simulated traits of animals. Obviously, as shown in the film, animals aren't plugged into that dream, into those pods. It's just people. Therefore, theoretically, all nature, birds, pigeons, every single piece of nature, insects would be simulated software mimicking what real life was before this man versus machine war came along, and most things were wiped out from the life. So, you know, they're just the main 3 points that I'll point out. And, you know, make you think about the simulation theory. But like I said, 3 months of research, I summarised that it's 50% possible, or at least 50% possible that we're in a simulation based off what I summarised. And other people have said that it's more possible. Elon Musk possibly said 98%. So it's something to keep in mind.